The stars always looked peaceful from Earth's orbit. Captain Anaya drifted near the window of her small quarters aboard the training ship Brilliance. Beyond the thick glass, 1,000 tiny stars twinkled in the darkness. Some of them had names. Some of them had memories. One star reminded her of Leo. Leo had been her best friend since cadet school. They trained together, laughed at the same boring lectures, and helped each other through every space exam. For years, they served side by side, dreaming of bigger missions. They even made a promise once. If either of them ever made it to the front line, they'd bring the other along. But that was before Leo got promoted to the Vanguard fleet and stationed in the Orion. Sector hundreds of light years away, Anaya didn't cry when he left. She just stood on the platform and gave him a tight hug. "I'll call," he'd said, but he never did. Now weeks had passed. Her messages remained unanswered. Though she checked every news broadcast from the Orion sector, she saw no sign of him. Maybe he forgot, she whispered to herself. Or maybe he's too busy. But in her heart, it hurt. A quiet, hollow kind of hurt. The kind that made the stars outside feel colder. She tried to distract herself with drills and daily routines. She trained new recruits, reviewed navigation, reports, and attended meetings. But every quiet moment brought her back to the same thought. Did Leo move on? Did I even matter to him anymore? Her roommate Jenna noticed the change. "You okay, Anna?" She asked one night. Anaya forced a smile. "Yeah, just tired." Dinner didn't press. But she did leave a hot cup of tea by Anaya's bunk the next morning. It smelled like home ginger and honey. That small kindness reminded Anaya of why she had joined the fleet, not just for missions, not for medals, but for people, loyalty. For the quiet bravery humans shared, even when the galaxy didn't notice. That evening, Anaya sat down at her desk. She stared at the blank screen. Then, slowly, she began typing a message. To Leo, Mara, at Fleet.Orion subject. Still watching the stars, hey. I don't know if this will reach you. I guess you're busy doing important things, probably making aliens faint with your terrible jokes. I just wanted to say, I miss talking to you. Things aren't the same here without your noisy humming and your weird coffee blends. I hope you're okay. I hope you still remember that promise we made on the academy roof. If you see this, write back. Even one word. Anaya, she hit send before she could change her mind. Then she closed her eyes and leaned back in her chair. Fate didn't always mean battles or glory. Sometimes it meant not giving up on the people who mattered. Sometimes it meant sending one more message, even if you weren't sure it would be. Read. Outside the window, a new star blinked in the distance, soft and blue. A message light. Her heart jumped. She rushed to the terminal. The message was short. From Leo Mara. At Fleet Orion subject, you still make terrible, Tiana, I'm sorry. I thought staying silent would hurt less than saying goodbye again. But I missed you every single day. I never forgot the promise. Tell me everything. Leo and Aya smiled. A real warm smile. It's a kind that reached her chest. They were still far apart. But somehow, through the quiet of space, something human had reached through. And it made all the difference. She turned to Jenna and whispered. He wrote back. Jenna grinned. Told you, the humans may be slow sometimes, but we never give. Up on the ones we care about. Out in the stars, the galaxy watched. And somewhere, the seeds of something great were starting to grow. Not from war, but from hope. From quiet strength, from humanity. Asterisk, the rain tapped gently against the glass dome of the communication tower. Mira sat alone at her desk, watching droplets race down the curved window. She had her hands folded, her eyes staring at nothing. It had been 2 weeks since Jace's reply. 2 weeks since that short but beautiful message, wait for me. But nothing more had come since then. Every day, Mira checked the console. Every night, she sat on the roof and stared at the stars. But no new messages, no sign of Jace's ship. No hint that he was closer. It was starting to feel like that first silence all over again, the kind that made the world feel far too big. Myra tried to keep busy. She worked double shifts helping calibrate the new hyperspace relay. She even trained to new recruits. But every time the comms panel beeped, her heart jumped. And every time it wasn't Jace, her smile faded. People noticed. "You okay, Myra?" asked Ren, her supervisor. He was kind, older, and had worked through the hard years when Earth was still hiding in shadows. "Yeah," she said softly, "just tired." But it wasn't just tiredness. It was a kind of ache, a feeling like part of her was floating away. Further and further, like a tether had snapped. Later that night, Mira returned to the communication tower. Everyone else had gone home. The floor lights glowed softly, and the machines hummed around her. She stood in front of the message terminal. She wanted to write again, but she didn't know what to say. "I miss you" felt too small. "Why haven't you written again?" It felt too heavy. And "please come home" was something she couldn't bring herself to type. Instead, she opened a new message and just stared at the blinking cursor. That's when she heard footsteps. She turned. It was Dr. Imani, one of the science leads. Was in her 70s and moved slowly, but always carried a quiet fire in her eyes. "You're up late," Dr. Imani said, walking over. Mira nodded. "Couldn't sleep." Dr. Imani looked at the message screen. "Is someone far away?" Mira gave a small smile. "Yeah." There was silence between them for a moment. Then Dr. Imani sat beside her. "When I was young," she began, "I loved someone who left Earth to join the Mars rebuilding project. We promised we'd stay in touch, but life got busy. Years passed. Sometimes I wondered if he'd forgotten me." Mira looked at her with wide eyes. "Did he?" Dr. Imani smiled. "No, one day I opened a research pod from Mars. Inside was a book he had written. The dedication was for me." Mira felt tears rise in her eyes. "Distance is hard," Dr. Imani said. "But connection doesn't vanish just because someone's far. If you still feel it, then it still lives." Mira took a breath. I don't want him to think I gave up." "And don't," the older woman said simply. Mira turned. Back to the terminal. This time she typed 2 jace.reese@fleet, deep subject. "Still here, hey again? It's been quiet here. The new relays are working. We tested the first signal to Titan today. The sky looked beautiful tonight. I watched it from the tower and thought of you. I hope you're safe. I hope you're getting closer. I'm still here, still waiting, still believing. Even if the stars are silent again, I know you're out there. And I'll be here when you find your way back." Myrushi sent it. There was no reply, of course. Not yet. But this time it didn't hurt the same way. It felt like lighting a small candle in the dark. Felt human. The next morning, Mira got back to work. She smiled more. She laughed when a young recruit dropped a tool and blamed the gravity glitch. She helped realign a transmitter that had been misfiring for days. She didn't forget. Jace, but she remembered herself too. Hope didn't always roar. Sometimes it whispered. And sometimes that whisper was enough to keep moving. That night before bed, her datapad blinked again. One new message relay echo detected her. Heart raced. The message was short. Still flying. Still coming. Don't stop believing. The stars remember. Jasmira closed her eyes. Yes, she would wait. Because that's what humanity did best. Hold on to hope. Even when the galaxy went quiet. Even when it felt like everyone else had moved on because they hadn't. Not really. The spaceport lights blinked slowly in the distance. From her window, Mira could see the landing pads glowing like stars scattered across steel. She sat in her room, curled up in a blanket, staring at the night sky. The wind outside howled through the long corridors of the base. Jace had sent one more message last week. Still flying. Still coming. The stars remember. After that silence again, Mira had read those words 100 times. She whispered them to herself like a prayer. But days passed. No new message. No sign of any ship approaching. She tried to stay strong. To keep working. To keep hoping. But the quiet was getting heavy. She felt far away from him again. And worse, she started to feel far away from everyone else too. Even when people smiled at her in the halls, she felt alone inside. She laughed at jokes, but her heart wasn't in it. Every time she closed her eyes, she remembered Jace's voice, his laugh, the way he used to knock twice on her door just to say hi. Now, everything felt distant, like she was living behind. One evening, Mira found herself sitting on the roof of the tech dome. It was late. No one else was around. She looked up at the stars, trying to guess which one Jace might be near. She whispered, "Are you still thinking of me?" Suddenly, she heard the sound of footsteps behind her. It was Ren, her supervisor. He carried a thermos in one hand and 2 cups in the other. "Mind if I join you?" Mira shook her head. He poured the hot drink and handed her a cup. "Still waiting?" She nodded. "It's silly, isn't it?" Ren looked out at the stars. "Not at all. Waiting for someone you care about isn't silly. It's brave." Took a sip of the tea. It warmed her hands. "I just don't know if he's okay. I don't even know if he'll come back." Ren nodded. "Do you know why I stayed with the Earth fleet after the rebuilding?" Mira looked at him. "Why? Because even when everything was broken, when we thought we were the last ones left, I believed someone would answer us, that the galaxy hadn't forgotten us, that humanity still mattered." Mira listened quietly. "Some people called it foolish," Ren continued. "But I call it human. We don't stop caring just because it hurts. We don't stop hoping, even when the silence is long." Mira looked down at her cup. "So what do I do?" "Write to him again," Ren said. "Even if there's no reply. Even if it takes years. Keep the light on. Let him find his way back." Night. Mira returned to the Cums Tower. The lights were dim, and the hum of machines filled the room. She opened the message terminal and took a deep breath. Then she typed to JACE.Reese at Fleet. Deep subject. Still watching the skis. "It's been quiet again. I keep watching for your ship. I keep checking the stars. I'm trying to be strong. Ren says hope is what keeps us human. Maybe he's right. Maybe that's why I can't stop thinking of you. I don't know where you are or if you can still hear me, but I'll keep writing. I believe in you. I believe in us, and I'm still here." Mirashi hit send. The message disappeared into the darkness between stars. There was no answer yet. But this time, she didn't feel empty. She felt full, love, of courage, of something stronger than silence. Hope. Over the next few days, Mira worked harder than ever. She fixed a broken stabilizer that no one else could figure out. She helped a young boy reconnect his mother's lost voice recording. She even started teaching a small group of cadets about signal theory. She smiled more. She laughed again, and every night she sent another message. Some were long, some were short. Some were just a single word. "Still here." Then, one morning, she woke to find her console blinking. One new message, long-range transmission. She opened it with shaking hands. "The fleet is near. Less than a week now? I saw your messages. Every one of them. They kept me going. They reminded me of who we are. I'm almost home, Myra. Don't give up. I never did." Jassa tears welled in her eyes. She clutched the screen and laughed. Full of relief and joy, he was coming. He had heard her. Myra stood up and looked out at the dawn. The sky was turning orange, soft and bright. A new day was beginning, and soon, someone she loved would return to it, because humans didn't stop hoping. They reached across galaxies. Through silence and fear, just to sink, still here. Mira walked slowly through the quiet corridors of the Earth Fleet base. The lights above flickered now and then, casting soft shadows on the walls. It had been 5 days since Jace's last message. 5 days since he said, "The fleet is near." Since then, nothing. No signal. No updates. No arrivals. The long-range scanners had picked up faint hyperspace echoes, but they were too far to confirm. No one knew if it was Jace's fleet or just passing merchant ships. But Mira kept checking. Every hour. Every moment she could spare, and every time the screen stayed blank, her chest felt heavier. She missed him. She had missed him every day since he left. But this waiting, this in-between space, where hope and fear meet, was the hardest of all. Mira sat alone in the garden dome, quiet spot inside the base filled with earth plants. Green vines climbed the walls. Flowers bloomed under artificial Sunlight. Jace used to call it our little planet inside the stars. They had shared many lunches there before he was assigned to the Deep Fleet. She touched a small plant with wide blue leaves. It was called Skyshade, and Jace had planted it with her during one of their breaks. Now it had grown tall, reaching toward the light, just like they once dreamed of doing. Mira closed her eyes. Was something wrong? Had his ship been damaged? Had they turned back? Or had they forgotten about her again? She shook her head, trying to push the thought away. No, she whispered. He wouldn't stop halfway. Still. The silence made her feel like a piece of her had been left in space. With him in, she couldn't reach it. That night, she returned to the comms tower. The room was dark, except for the soft blue glow of the terminal. She sat in her usual seat and stared at the message screen. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, unsure what to type. Then slowly, she began jice.reese@fleet.deep. Subject, I still believe, hey, it's been 5 days. I know I probably sound worried. And I am. But I'm still holding on. I still believe you're coming. I walked through the garden dome today. The Skyshade plant is blooming. You'd love how big it's gotten. Every part of this base reminds me of you, the old scanner you fixed, the vent you kicked when it made that whistling sound, the broken coffee machine we never replaced. You're not forgotten here. Not by me. If something's gone wrong, just know I still believe in you. And I'll wait as long as it takes. I'm not giving up, because that's not what humans do. Mirashi hit send. There was no reply. It's just silence. But Mira stayed in that room for a long time, sitting beside the machine, listening to Mira. The soft hum of the galaxy moving far beyond her reach. In the days that followed, the base became busier. Rumors spread that the Council had detected a fleet approaching from deep space. Engineers were told to ready the landing pads. Security was placed on high alert. Special meeting was scheduled, but no details were given. Mira tried not to get her hopes up. She had been let down before. Still, every step she took, every hallway she crossed, she felt her heart beat faster. Then, one morning, the base alarm sounded, but not for danger. Attention. Came the soft voice over the speakers. An unknown but friendly fleet is approaching. Long-range scanners confirm Earth fleet signal codes. Possible returning vessels from deep mission. All staff to prepare for arrival. Mira froze. Her hands shook. Her heart pounded. She ran past startled technicians and curious officers down the silver halls, across the hangar bridge, straight to the observation deck. There in the sky, she saw them. Ships. Dozens of them. Some were old Earth designs. Some were new, shining with alien tech and custom shields. They broke through hyperspace in perfect formation, quiet and strong, and leading them all was a ship Mira knew by heart. The Ardent Horizon, Jace's shipped her. Knees felt weak. Tears filled her eyes. It was real. He was really back. The fleet descended slowly. Ships touched down on the base's far side. Officers began greeting the crews. Families reunited. Soldiers embraced. Myra stood frozen by the deck window, waiting then across the landing field. Someone stepped through the shuttle doors. Tall. In uniform, face a little older. But the smile was the same. Jace? Their eyes met. He dropped his pack and ran. So did she, when they reached each other. They didn't speak. They just held on like the distance, the silence. The long months apart had melted into nothing. I read every message, he whispered. I sent them so I wouldn't forget how to breathe, she said, smiling through tears. They pulled apart. Slightly, just enough to look at each other. You came back, Mira said. I never stopped coming, Jace replied behind them. The rest of the Earth fleet buzzed with life. Humanity had returned to the stars, not in fire, but in hope. And through all the silence, the waiting, and the distance, Mira had never let go, because that's what humans did, they believed. Even when the stars didn't answer, they waited even when it hurt, and they hoped until the impossible came true. Rain fell lightly outside the domed roof of the Earth Memorial Station. Mira sat inside her room, listening to the soft tapping sound above her. The stars were hidden behind gray clouds, and so was her mood. Jace had been back for 3 weeks. Now, but everything felt different. He was here, yes, alive, safe. But he was also distant. Something had changed in him during his time away. When they talked, his eyes sometimes looked past her. When she laughed, he smiled gently, but not like before. He said he was just tired, that the fleet missions were hard, that being out there in the dark made it harder to come home. But Mira missed him, the real him. The one who used to tell silly stories. The one who used to steal a flower from the garden dome and tuck it behind her ear. Now he worked long hours helping the New Earth fleet settle into orbit stations. He barely replied to her messages. And every time she tried to ask what was wrong, he just said, "I'm okay." But Mira wasn't. She didn't know how to reach him anymore. That night, she opened her notebook, the one she always carried on, began to write, "You're Jace. I don't know how to say this face to face. Maybe I'm afraid. But since you came back, I feel like you left something behind in space, like part of you is still out there. I understand if you're tired. I understand if the stars changed you, but I'm still here. I never moved. I miss you, not just being near you, but feeling close to you. I want to help you come all the way back. Just let me try. Always, Myra." She sealed the letter and left it in the box outside his quarters. Then she waited. 2 days passed. No reply, no knock on her door, no message on her compad. Mira started to feel like she had reached the edge of what she could do, like she had stretched her heart across space, and it was slowly tearing. Sadness returned, the same ache she had felt when he was far away in hyperspace. One evening she walked alone to the top of the observation tower. The city lights below shimmered through the mist. The stars above were still hidden, but she imagined them watching. She whispered, "I just want him to talk to me again. Like before." A voice behind her answered quietly, "I read your letter." Mira turned. Kay stood there looking tired but not like before. His eyes met hers, and there was something raw in them, something real. "I didn't know how to say anything," he said. "Out there we saw things, empty stations, lost colonies, wrecks floating in the dark with no names left. Made me feel like we could disappear too. Like nothing we built would last." Mira took a step closer. "But you did last. You came back." "I did," Jace said. "But part of me didn't know if I deserved peace, or love, or this." She reached out and held his hand. "You do, and you don't have to carry it alone." Jace looked at her, his voice quiet. "I thought I had to be strong. That hope was just for people who stayed behind. But the truth is, your hope is what brought me back." They stood together in silence. The wind moved gently, and for the first time in weeks, Jace didn't pull away. Mira smiled softly. "Do you remember what you told me before you left?" He nodded, "That humans never give up, even if the stars forget us. And I didn't give up," she said. "Not on you. Not on us." Jace's eyes glistened, and he pulled her close. The silence between them was no longer cold, was warm, filled with all the things they didn't have to say. "I'm sorry I shut you out," he whispered. "I'm just glad you're still trying," she replied. The stars above the clouds finally peeked through one by one. Soft light bathed the tower. Mira looked up and breathed in deeply. Jace followed her gaze. "We're still here," he said. "And we're not broken," Mira added. "No," he agreed. "Just healing." Together, they stood under the sky, hand in hand. The galaxy had tried to pull them apart. The silence had almost won. But HFY wasn't about being perfect. It was about trying again. It was about choosing love in the middle of fear. About building bridges even when it seemed too far. Mira and Jace had crossed one more bridge that night. And they weren't done yet. Myra sat on a bench by the edge of the observation dome, where Earth looked small and far away. Around her, people walked, talked, and laughed inside the Mars colony, but she felt like a shadow in a world full of light. She held a data chip in her hand, rolling it slowly between her fingers. It held the last voice message from her sister. Lana had moved to Titan Station 6 months ago. She joined a science team, studying Saturn's icy moon. It was a big step for her career. Mira had smiled and said she was proud, but inside she felt something quietly break. They used to talk every day, wake each other up with funny messages, share meals over holocalls, send photos of silly things, cats in uniforms, floating coffee cups, bad haircut fails. Now, silence. The last message was short. Hey, sorry I missed our call again. We've had a crazy week, storm knocked out half the systems. Message. Soon, love you. But that was 3 weeks ago. Mira had sent 5 messages since then. No reply, no update. She told herself it was probably just work. A busy schedule. Technical problems. But the space between them felt heavier each day. It wasn't just distance, it was loneliness wrapped in worry. She missed Lana's voice, her laughter, her presence. One evening, Myra walked into the communications lab, where she worked part-time. She checked the Titan relay systems, hoping to find a delayed message or failed file. Nothing, just the blinking waiting for connection. Symbol, she leaned her head against the console and whispered, "Are you okay?" Technician noticed. Her sitting there and walked over, still nothing? Mira nodded. The technician gave a gentle smile. You know, my brother's on Europa. There were weeks we didn't hear a thing. Turned out he just got stuck fixing a frozen antenna. Sometimes quiet doesn't mean gone. Mira looked up. But what if she's struggling? What if she thinks I've moved on? Then remind her, the tech said. Humanity's greatest strength isn't tech, it's care. That night, Mira went home and pulled out her hollow recorder. She sat on her bed, took a deep breath, and hit the red button. Recording start. Hey, Lana, I know things must be busy out there. I've been thinking about you every day. I miss our talks. I miss your stupid puns. I even miss the way you always steal my fries through the screen. I know you're doing something important. You're helping science grow, helping humanity. Reach further. Just in case you're tired or sad or feel alone, I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere. So whenever you're ready, I'll be on the other side of this message. Love you always. Mariko recording, and she uploaded the file to every relay that passed near Titan. Then she waited. Each night, she checked for a response. Days passed. Then a week. Still silence. Mira tried to keep busy fixing equipment, helping with supply drones, spending time in the garden dome. But the quiet never left her heart. One morning, she woke up to a blinking light on her dash pad. Message from Lana. Malik at Titan Station. Subject, I'm here, Mira. Sat up so fast the pad fell from her lap. She grabbed it with shaking hands and pressed play. Lana's face appeared. Tired, but smiling. Hey, big sis. I heard your message. I wanted to reply right away, but our comms were down for almost 10 days. We got caught in a methane storm. The whole station had to go into emergency mode. We've just come back online. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disappear. I didn't realize how much I needed your voice until I heard it again. You reminded me why we came all this way, not just to explore, but to stay connected. You're right. HFY isn't just about reaching the stars. It's about holding on to the people who make the journey worth it. I love you, Mira. Don't ever think I forgot you? Also, next time we holocall, I'm still stealing your fries. Mira laughed, wiping tears from her eyes. She looked out the window toward the stars. Glowing faintly above the Martian sky, the galaxy was big. Life was busy, but love, hope, and human connection always found a way. Sometimes it took a long wait. Sometimes it meant sending messages into the void, unsure if anyone would answer. But Mira now knew this for sure. Even across light years, even in the middle of silence, even through storms and distance and doubt, human hearts never stopped reaching. Because that was what it meant to be human, to hope, to care, and to never, ever give up on the ones you love. Mira sat alone in the corner of the Martian cafe, stirring her tea without drinking it. Round her, voices filled the air, colonists chatting, scientists discussing data, children laughing nearby. But inside Mira's heart, everything felt quiet. Too quiet. Across the table was an empty chair. It was the chair where her best friend, Alaya, used to sit every weekend. They'd meet here, talk talk for hours, watch the Martian sunset through the glass dome. But Elia had moved 6 months ago. He had accepted a research position on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. At first, they messaged often, late-night voice calls, video chats, funny photos. They even read books together and shared notes. But slowly, the messages came less often. The time difference didn't help. Elia's days were long, filled with studies and missions. Sometimes he didn't answer for days, even weeks. Mira didn't blame him. She knew he was working hard. She wanted to be proud. But still, every time she opened her inbox and saw no new message, a tiny part of her hope dimmed. She missed his stories, his laughter. It's the way he'd listened to her dreams like they were important. Now she wondered, had he moved on? Did she still matter to him? That night, Mira returned home and opened her journal. She hadn't written in it for weeks. Ain't she? Turned to a fresh page and wrote, "I miss you, Elia. I miss the way we used to talk. I don't know if you're too busy or just forgetting me slowly. But I still think about you. I don't want us to fade like a signal lost in space. I still believe in what we had. And I hope if you ever feel the same, you'll reach back." She closed the book and held it to her chest. The next morning, she went to the communications office at the Mars Colony Hub. She spoke with a technician named Rami, someone who often helped her with long-range relays. "Is there any way I can send a direct message to Europa?" she asked. Rami nodded. "The next pulse relay goes out in 8 hours. Limited bandwidth, though, just enough for a voice clip. It's all I need," Mira said. She stepped into the small booth, took a breath, and pressed record. "Hi, Elia. It's me, Mira. I'm not calling to make you feel bad or ask why you haven't messaged. I just wanted to say that I still care, that I miss you, and that I hope you're okay. If there's still a space in your heart for our friendship, I'm here, always." She stopped the recording and handed it to Rami. Then she waited. 3 days passed, no reply. She began to think the message had failed. Maybe the relay didn't reach him. Maybe he didn't listen. Or maybe he just didn't know what to say. Still, she didn't regret sending it, because hope, Mira believed, wasn't just about waiting. It was about reaching out, even when you were scared that evening. She visited the observatory. She liked to go there when she missed someone. She sat beneath the glass dome and looked at Jupiter, huge and bright, like a giant lantern in the dark. Then her compad buzzed. Incoming message. From Liel, John at Europa mission. Her hands shook as she opened it. Elia's face appeared, tired, but smiling. His voice was soft. "Hey Mira, I got your message. I listened to it more than once. Truth is, I've been feeling really far from everything lately. Work's intense. Europa is beautiful but lonely. And I didn't want to send you boring updates or tired excuses. But not messaging you, that was worse. Hearing your voice reminded me what home feels like. I'm sorry I disappeared. Never stop thinking about you. If you'll still have me, I want to be part of your life again. Even if we're far, let's make this work. One call at a time."
Wow.
Myra smiled so wide her cheeks hurt. She stood and looked up at the glowing planet in the sky. "Hi, Elia," she whispered. "Welcome back." From then on, they talked every week. Sometimes short calls, sometimes long ones. They sent each other photos, again Europa's frozen plains, Mars's red hills. They even started writing a story together, a science fiction tale about 2 explorers who stayed connected across time and space. Mira knew the distance wouldn't disappear overnight, but they were rebuilding something, step by step, word by word. Because that's what humans did. They kept reaching. They kept trying, and they never gave up on the people. Loved no matter how far away they were, even across the stars. Asterisk, the Earth's sunrise looked soft from the orbital station. Light spilled across the horizon, painting the clouds in gold and pink. Mira stood at the edge of the glass walkway, watching the world turn below. People moved behind her, engineers, officers, travelers, but she barely noticed them. She was thinking about home, not just Earth, not just Mars. She was thinking about her parents, who had moved to the outer colonies 2 years ago. At first, they called every week. They asked about her job, her friends, her health. They sent little gifts, her mom's favorite music chip, her dad's old book filled with handwritten notes. But then, life got busy. The colony needed more work. Time zones got tricky. Connections became harder. Soon, the calls stopped. Mira hadn't spoken to them in 6 months. She kept telling herself they were fine, that the silence was normal, that grown-up families sometimes drifted apart. But late at night, the quiet felt heavier, like she had lost something important and didn't know how to get it back. She missed her mom's laugh, her dad's advice, the feeling of knowing someone was always in her corner, but she didn't know how to reach out. Would it be awkward now? Too much time had passed? What if they thought she didn't care? Still, Mira had learned something from all the connections she'd rebuilt with Jace, with Lana, with Alaya. Even when things felt far apart, hope could still build a bridge. That morning, she walked to the communications bay. She stared at the screen, unsure where to begin. The colony's name appeared in the list, Aurelia Sector 3 Station. Her finger hovered over it. Just press. She took a deep breath and did. A message box opened. She didn't record video. Not yet. She just typed. To mom.dad@aurelia.colony subject. Thinking of you, hi? I don't know if this message will surprise you. I've been meaning to write for a long time, but I didn't know how to start. I just want to say I miss you. I miss our talks. I miss hearing your voices. I hope you're doing okay. I hope the colony is safe. If you have time, even for a short message, I'd love to hear from you. Love always, Mira. She hit send and waited. 1 day passed. Nothing. 2 days. Still quiet. She told herself not to expect much. Maybe they were busy. Maybe the station's comms were down. On the 3rd day, her pad beeped. Message from family. Aurelia at Colony Mail. She opened it, heart pounding. Video message start. Her mother's face appeared first. Eyes wide with joy. Mira. Oh my stars, we got your message. We were just talking about you last week, wondering how to reach out without making it awkward. Her father leaned into the frame. We're so sorry it's been so long. Life's been crazy here. New greenhouses, water system upgrades, you. Name it. But not a day goes by when we don't think of you, her mom added. We're proud of you, her dad said. You always have been. We've missed you so, so much. Mira could see the emotion in their eyes. It matched her own. Her mom smiled. Thank you for being brave and writing first. Call us soon, okay? Her dad said. Let's not let distance win again. Video message end. Mira pressed her hand to her heart. She was crying, but it was the happy kind. That night, she walked alone to the observation deck again. The stars looked brighter now. She sat down and looked out over Earth. Her story had started with silence, with distance, but piece by piece, she had found a way to reconnect with Kara, Jace, Lana, Alaya, and now her parents. Each time had taken courage. Each time had needed hope. And each time she had chosen to try, because that's what it meant to be human, to reach out when it was easier to hide, to send a message into the dark and believe someone would answer, to fix what felt broken, not with force, but with heart. The galaxy once believed Earth was gone, that humans had faded, but they didn't understand what lived inside every person from Earth, a will that never gave up, a love that never forgot, and a hope that traveled farther than any ship. Mira smiled through her tears. She was proof of it. HFY wasn't just about ships or strength. It was about connection. She would carry that light wherever she went.